The man accused of driving drunk, hitting and killing a Lexington lawyer appeared in court today. What his attorneys want the judge to do.
Things can happen. Weather can move in and cause delays. You just never know.
Millions of Americans are expected to hit the roads this weekend. We're tracking the start of holiday travel.
You can't stay ahead of these people. They've gained their trust.
How getting caught up in a scam can cost you more than just money.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. His attorney says the case has received too much publicity and he can't receive a fair trial.
Odilon Paz Salvador is charged with murder. Police say he was drunk when he ran over and killed a Lexington attorney during a cycling event last year in Scott County. And prosecutors say they're ready to move forward now. As WKYT's Kristen Kennedy reports in our top story at 5:30, it's now up to a judge to decide.
Odilon Paz Salvador was back in front of a judge Friday. He's accused of driving drunk and hitting and killing Lexington lawyer Mark Kinkle. Paz Salvador's attorneys argue his case has already received so much publicity that their client would never get a fair trial in Scott County. They filed a motion with the judge requesting a change of venue. The Commonwealth filed a response Tuesday. As of Friday, the judge had yet to make a decision. The case is picking up attention outside of Scott County.
I just need to advise the court and Mr. Early as well that the Mexican consulate is now involved in the case. They want to be advised of any time that we have a hearing.
Paz Salvador's attorneys wouldn't comment on camera, but did tell us the Mexican consulate is working with them to bring his parents to the state for the trial to offer support.
Earlier this year, the governor signed into law a bill many legislators pushed after Hinkle's death. The law keeps track of drunk driving offenses within a 10-year period.
The previous law only took into consideration an offender's last 5 years. Paz Salvador had prior DUI convictions, but a majority of them had occurred beyond that. The judge is expected to decide on the change of venue request next week. In Scott County, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Paz Salvador's trial is tentatively set for April of next year.
The Madison County coroner is trying to find the family of a pedestrian killed last night on Interstate 75. It happened just south of the mile marker 77 off-ramp around 11 last night. Police say the man was hit once by a vehicle. The driver who hit the man did stop and wait for help. The coroner told the Richmond Register the victim is Artis Lee Davis of Georgia. Anyone who may have information on Davis is asked to contact the Madison County Coroner's Office.
After a sunny and pretty cool end to June, we're entering July with some chances of rain and maybe some storms.
We want to check in now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey with more on your holiday weekend weather.
Yeah, deeper into this big, long holiday weekend, the better the chance for thunderstorms across central and eastern Kentucky. We actually have a few out there now, but they're rather spotty and scattered in nature. Low 80s. Current temperature trend across many areas of central and eastern Kentucky. 80 cool spot into Jackson, 83 Lexington and London right now with a mix of sun and some clouds. What are we picking up on with your Defender Radar Network? Showers and some thunderstorms working their way toward the Lake Cumberland area. Some of this stuff getting close to Columbia into Adair County. That'll work toward Russell Springs. And again, that's 30, 40 minutes away from Lake Cumberland, and chances are that'll begin to decrease before it gets there, but still, you hear any rumbles of thunder, get out of the water. Into parts of central Kentucky, some scattered showers, Danville, back into parts of Springfield, Lebanon, and toward Lancaster and Richmond. That stuff, again, extending back to our west. Overall, it is just ahead of a cold front that has some really good air coming up for the day tomorrow. That front will move through here a little later this evening, and if you liked yesterday's weather, I think you're going to like what we have for our Saturday. If you're looking to get outside Sunday, especially late and into Monday, guys, and let's face it, it's the 4th of July. We all are looking to get outside. You probably want to stay tuned for the forecast that has thunderstorms in it in a few.
All right, Chris, we will thank you. If you are planning to travel this holiday weekend, you are far from alone. AAA projects nearly 43 million Americans will travel this weekend, the highest 4th of July travel volume on record.
Let's take a look at our live drive traffic map to show you how busy the roads are getting already. It is rush hour. Slowdowns and backups turning the roads yellow and red in some places. WKYT's Mike Linden is live near I-75 and Manowar Boulevard with more on the busy travel season. Hey, Mike.
Well, hey there, Sam. If you're traveling by land or by air for the Independence Day holiday weekend, travel experts say to expect some delays because this weekend happens to be one of the busiest, if not the busiest, holiday traveling weekends of the year. If you're taking to the air this holiday weekend, Bluegrass Airport leaders say to expect minor delays.
You know, things can happen. Weather can move in and cause delays. You just never know, because it's really like a trickle effect. If one happens at another airport, it could affect your entire trip. Following the terrorist attacks in Istanbul earlier this week, travel experts anticipate longer than usual waits to get through airport security lines. That's why Bluegrass Airport leaders are asking travelers to pack their patience, especially when dealing with first-time travelers. Those passengers that are not familiar with it can cause a delay sometimes just because they're not familiar, and it may back up others. However, you can see today the line is moving very fast. It's been a great pace for our passengers. If you're hitting the road to travel instead, AAA says to expect many other drivers on the roads with you. Approximately 43 million people. That number includes law enforcement as KSP kicks off their Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign.
The Kentucky State Police will be conducting traffic safety checkpoints throughout the Commonwealth over the weekend and the upcoming days.
Trooper Napier says when it comes to drinking and driving, it's never a good idea.
When you're getting behind the wheel after consuming alcohol, you are taking your life and the lives of everybody around you at risk.
Now, Trooper Napier also says that if you plan on drinking this holiday weekend, to pick a designated driver before you do so. If it gets to the point where you don't have a designated driver, to call a taxi or a car service, something he says you can even use your smartphone to even do. Otherwise, be safe this holiday weekend. Live in Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Also, AAA points to the price of gas as a big reason why travelers' numbers are up this year. The price of gas on average across the country today is $2.31. That's down about 47 cents from this time last year.
Divers have recovered the body of a 13-year-old boy who drowned at a private man-made lake yesterday. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Warren County. The Warren County Sheriff's Department says that 13-year-old Darren Mills of Florence was swimming with his cousin and brother Thursday night when they went under. Or he went under, rather. The teenager's brother and cousin attempted to rescue him before calling 911. Divers recovered the boy's body later that night. Authorities say none of the young men lived in that gated community. In Anderson County, a section of Highway 127 has been named after a former highway superintendent. Logan Driscoll worked for the State Highway Department for 10 years. He was killed 2 years ago in a traffic accident. Today, fellow transportation workers and family members looked on as part of the road Driscoll was responsible for was renamed the Logan Driscoll Memorial Highway.
Got the respect of the workers that he had, that were under him. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But a fair person, that he was tolerant of everybody.
Driscoll left behind a son and stepdaughter. He was a 2002 graduate of Anderson County High School.
It is one of the most successful scams in the country, and it's destroying lives. The foreign lottery sweepstakes scam has been around for years, but with a seductive pitch that tells people they have won thousands and millions, many are still falling victim. And the toll is not only on the victim themselves, but the scam is leaving families shattered.
Mom, it's your family or them. What are you going to choose? You have to quit talking to them. And she actually paused before she could answer. Devastating.
Val Zitko is frustrated and angry. Her mother is caught in a sweepstakes scam and lost more than $15,000. But her monetary losses are only part of the problem. Val believes these conmen truly brainwashed her mother.
You can't stay ahead of these people. They've gained their trust, their confidence, and they make them believe what they're saying.
Initially, Val's mother was told she won $8 million and a Mercedes. All she needed to do was pay the fee. But then the conmen began calling every day asking for more and more money. At one point, Val took one of the calls.
They wanted to make sure that she was okay. And at the very end, they said, don't forget and always remember that I love you. Caught me off guard. I hung up, I slammed down the phone.
Yet they still call. Her family intervened with the help of law enforcement and victim advocates, but it's been hard.
We've changed bank accounts. We've changed phone numbers. We've tried to block phone numbers. I've blocked over 60.
Postal inspectors admit that foreign lottery scams are hard to combat with elderly Americans.
Scammers are very good at telling them, don't tell your family members, because as soon as they find out, all they're going to do is take your money.
Experts say loved ones need to intervene.
If I can stop one person from getting involved in this fishnet of craziness and deception, to where it not only affects the victim, it's the victim's family too. And you just don't know how anymore.
Very, very sad. Postal inspectors want to remind consumers, we've said it many, many times on this broadcast, that no legitimate lottery will ever ask for taxes or fees up front.
I'm Bill Bryant. A local historian wonders if we realize the risks that the Founding Fathers took when America declared its independence. The bottom line is on the way.
As we celebrate our nation's independence, a well-known Kentucky historian wants us to remember just how risky it was for our Founding Fathers.
Bill Bryant has more in today's Bottom Line.
Good evening. As America gets ready to celebrate Independence Day, a well-known Kentucky historian says it is important to remember the bravery and effort it took on the part of the Founding Fathers to declare independence. Ron Bryant teaches American and Kentucky history at the college level. He says most of us know the story of how the colony split from England in 1776, but few understand how daring it really was.
They put their lives on the line, because when they did actually sign the Declaration of Independence, when they did get around to it, they were saying, we are in defiance of King George III and the British government, and therefore we are traitors to that country, and we can be hanged if it goes wrong. They set their lives, their fortunes, everything, and many of them did not survive it. Some of them actually did perish during the war, and many of them lost their fortunes during it. We don't think about that very much.
Bryant is a guest on this weekend's edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Also on the program, State Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. Kentucky Newsmakers runs in its entirety Sunday morning at 6 on WKYT. It repeats Sunday at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch it then. With his wife leading in most polls and the political conventions on the way, former President Bill Clinton has handed Republicans some new fodder. His meeting on board the plane of Attorney General Loretta Lynch this week in Phoenix has been seized on because Lynch is in charge of the federal investigation of Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State. She now says she will not make the final call in the case. Lynch says that subject was never brought up and that she and the former president discussed grandkids and friends, but Donald Trump and other Republicans are using the situation to raise more questions about the Clintons. Vice President Joe Biden set to campaign with Hillary Clinton in Pennsylvania, where they both have family ties, and where President Obama also is scheduled now to join her Tuesday on the campaign trail in North Carolina. Biden tells NPR that Bernie Sanders will endorse Clinton before the Democratic National Convention. Governor Bevin and Indiana Governor Mike Pence have signed an agreement to build a new bridge across the Ohio River to carry I-69. The two states will split the initial costs of planning the proposed bridge that will connect Henderson on the Kentucky side with Evansville, Indiana. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Overall, a nice looking start for many of us to the big, long 4th of July weekend. Temperatures out there today a little warmer than where we were yesterday and the day before, and you're noticing a little increase in humidity, too. Winds are coming at us still from the north and northwest, and we have a cold front that is right on top of the area, and that's going to drop temperatures as we go into the day tomorrow. Look upstream. That's where the air is coming from, Indy to Chicago. 69 off the lake right now into the Windy City. No thanks to that. I'll take the 79 in Indianapolis, and as a matter of fact, tomorrow, many thermometers may be closer to that 79. Low 80s now into most of central and eastern Kentucky. Those live sky cams picking up on a mix of sun and some clouds showing up. Showers and some thunderstorms showing up as well. Scattered fashion take you into parts of southern Kentucky, heading toward Lake Cumberland. Little batch of some showers and thunderstorms is about a half hour away as it makes its way out of Columbia and Adair County, folks, into Russell Springs. Hey, you're looking off to your northwest and seeing the darkening skies, hearing a rumble of thunder. Lancaster, Garrett County, back to the west, parts of Boyle County, getting in on some heavier downpours. Lexington area still in pretty good shape, and we should stay that way for the next little bit. Northeastern parts of the region, Vanceburg down into Carlisle, Nicholas County, isolated showers. That's the name of the weather game as we go through the evening. And then here comes this breath of fresh air for Saturday. Thank you. Cold front tomorrow is going to look and feel very, very nice. Some patchy fog in the morning. How about temperatures back into the 50s? Right around 80 tomorrow afternoon. Most areas stay dry. That much of a chance we see a little shower thunderstorm popping up across southern Kentucky, but it's a mainly dry day on your 3-day threat track. Can't say the same for late Sunday and especially Sunday night into the 4th of July when some thunderstorms will increase. It isn't going to be just constant rain. Hopefully we can squeeze in some fireworks and some parades in between the rounds of thunderstorms, but any storm that goes up Sunday night into Monday can be a bit on the strong side and put down some heavy rains. Hour by hour forecast still trying to blow up a scattered thunderstorm into the eastern part of the state this evening. Low and mid 50s northern Kentucky tomorrow morning. That's a cool start to the day. How about 70 to 75 at lunchtime tomorrow into the afternoon? Upper 70s to low 80s, a mix of sun and some clouds. Never going to be completely just a blue sky out there. Then tomorrow evening, we'll watch the western sky for that small threat for a shower or thunderstorm. A little more humidity into the mix on Sunday can lead to a scattered thunderstorm. And as the day wears on, look at that 69 Covington, yet we may press close to 90 on the Kentucky-Tennessee border counties. And that will unleash then a big complex of thunderstorms from west to east as we go into Sunday evening, into Monday morning, and then it's game on for some additional thunderstorms to go up as we head into the day on Monday. What happens in a setup like this, computer models, they're only good for so much. They cannot forecast exact movement of thunderstorms, the timing on those. Just know that late Sunday and into Monday, at any point, you're fair game for a booming thunderstorm that can put down some very heavy rains, especially along and north of Interstate 64. End of next week, I'm seeing a hot period setting up. We may hit 95 by a week from now. Quick check on traffic as we get you up close and personal across the Lexington Metro into the city of Lexington. A couple of trouble spots on the north side of town right now. Russell Cave, accident at Winburn Drive, and also New Circle near Newtown Pike. And on the east side of town, Winchester Road, seeing it back up there as we have a little accident heading out of Lexington.
A lot of people out and about tonight, that's for sure. But good news for Saturday, though, that it's kind of shaping up to be a better day.
If you don't plan something to do outside tomorrow, plan something to do outside tomorrow.
Got it.
All right?
Thanks, Chris.
You got it, guys.
All right, just ahead, next Wildcat looking for a new home in the NBA.
Well, the Rockets making a decision on Terrence Jones, and O.J. Mayo is out of the NBA. And Buddy Ryan, what his former players had to say about the man they loved as a coach. Sports is next. The man who invented the 46 defense and helped the Chicago Bears win Super Bowl 20, Buddy Ryan, was laid to rest today. The 85-year-old Ryan passed away Tuesday. Today, former players, coaches gathered in Lawrenceburg to celebrate the life of Ryan. Former Bears coach Mike Ditka was among them. Guys who played for Buddy said he was more than their coach.
Buddy wouldn't want this to be a sorrowful moment. I think he accomplished a lot, and Dan Hampton and I were here about 5 weeks ago and knew that Buddy wasn't in good health, but you know, he's struggled, but I think he's in a much more peaceful place today.
He was one of a kind. If there was ever a father figure in my life, it was him. You know, I said something earlier today that, you know, there was never a time when you were on or off the field while you were a Chicago Bear playing for Buddy Ryan that you didn't know that he was thinking about you or thinking about something he could work out for you on the field.
Buddy's a guy that if you ask him a question, it's like a question that you would ask your grandfather. You might not be ready for the answer, but yet you know that it's real and it's straight from the heart. And you know, and being an athlete, being a ball player, being a human being, that's all you can ask from a person.
Former Wildcat Terrence Jones, now an unrestricted free agent after the Rockets did not give him a qualifying offer. Jones averaged 12.7 rebounds in 2014, followed that up with similar numbers in 2015, but played only 33 games. This past season, Jones played in only 50 games, apparently had a falling out with the coaching staff. And O.J. Mayo has been dismissed and disqualified from the NBA for violating the terms of the league's anti-drug program. The NBA said Friday the number 3 overall pick in the 2008 draft out of USC is eligible to apply for reinstatement in 2 years. Mayo spent the past 3 seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks. He averaged 7.8 points in 41 games last season, including 24 starts. According to rules of the NBA NBPA anti-drug program, information regarding the testing or treatment of a player cannot be disclosed by the league, his team, or the union. The latest on Rajon Rondo. We'll hear from him coming up in the next half hour. He's got his camp going, his annual summer camp over in Louisville. Stay with us. We'll continue after the break.